Hi, welcome to the Destin Business Forum, brought to you by the Destin Area Chamber of Commerce. Our guest today is Ryan Garrity with, Pleat, Perry, and Ritchie law firm in Destin. Thank you for coming in, Ryan.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
I wanted to have you on so you could discuss and educate on the BP oil spill claims process. First off, tell me, you're a lawyer, is that correct?
That's correct. I actually work for a law firm that you're a partner in.
You went to law school?
I went to law school at Florida State.
And you went to undergrad at?
The University of Florida.
Okay, so here's probably the toughest question you're going to have all day. Are you a Gator or a Seminole?
I'm actually a Gator, so go Gators.
All right, we got that out of the way. Other areas of practice that you do with the firm too, why don't you mention that?
I do a lot of work with real estate foreclosures, title insurance issues as far as fee simple title and ownership of property. And more recently, the last few years, I've been concentrating on the BP claims for our local residents. Okay,
so there was one process. What was that for BP oil claims?
Right, when the BP claims system started up shortly after the oil spill, originally BP was in charge of trying to funnel money into our economy. That did not go so well as far as any type of regulation or fair treatment. You know, some people did very well in that system and other people did not, but it was not a fair system. So then they put Attorney Feinberg in charge of the Gulf Coast Claims Facility. And the procedure became more fair, but it also became very bogged down. So a lot of people, so a lot of red tape, and therefore a lot of people were not getting any funds sent to them. And then most recently, we're dealing with a court-administrated settlement system. So it's managed by a judge. His name is Judge Juneau, out of Louisiana, and therefore we're getting more fair treatment and a speedier process because the court system does put deadlines on everything.
Yeah, those good old deadlines. No, but that's a good thing.
Yes.
When people, criticize lawyers sometimes, I do say that some good things do come out of having a process, having deadlines. Ryan, are you finding that in your practice it actually is a little quicker than it used to be?
Things have sped up here lately. There was a settlement agreement obviously entered into back in March of 2012. That was recently approved on November 8th of 2012. So since the settlement agreement and the terms of it have been frozen or fixed, I've seen that settlements are being more quickly administered and paid.
Okay. So if somebody is watching this and they think they may have a claim, but they're not sure, if they come into the office, do you charge them anything to have a consultation with them?
No, it's a free consult.
And what should they have with them? I mean, should they just come in, or should they have some paperwork, or at least having a working familiarity with some of their numbers?
They just need to have the working familiarity. If they did bring some documentation, that would be great because we can get started a little sooner. I've noticed that most of the time when people don't bring, say, their tax returns from 08 to 2010, P&Ls, things of that nature, when I give them the homework to bring that stuff back to me, it tends not to happen so quickly.
Okay.
So if they bring it with them initially, then we can start administering their claim quicker.
Just like with anything, the more prepared you are at the beginning, the quicker the process
That's right.
can go. Okay. And I know there are zones. Tell me a little bit about, that's about all I know because I don't do this every day, but there are 4 zones, correct?
That's correct. There's 4 different zones for economic business claims.
Okay.
You have A, B, C, and D. Economic loss zone A is for local people south of 98.
Okay.
So if you had a business south of 98, you don't have to prove causation.
So that's the benefit of being in zone.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Closer to the beach.
Presumed to.
You have presumed causation by the oil spill for a drop off in your business activities. If you're not near the beach and you're in zone C, you would then have to prove causation, and you do that by utilizing your P&Ls from the last few months and they look at different factors such as whether you're a startup business or a failed startup business or an existing business that failed because of the oil spill.
I would assume you would have a stronger case if you were an existing business just because you could show the drop-off in business, but it's not entirely impossible if you're a startup business to show that you failed if you did because of the oil spill, I would think, right?
That's true. I mean, if you were a startup business, say you were a vacation rental company, and you started your vacation rental property management company in 2010, January, and you just never got off the ground, and your office was located south of 98, you're basically guaranteed a claim.
Okay.
It's just a matter of
Just your proximity.
the administration filling in their formula to calculate.
And I would
what your
imagine that
claim
would be a little more challenging because they don't have any numbers to go on.
That's right.
but-
There's no history. If you're an older established business and you can prove through documentation, say from 07 and 06, you may want to go back further to help bolster your claim because you could show a percentage growth year over year until 2010 and then a drop off, something like that.
And there are two different types of claims, a property claim and an economic claim?
Yes, there's actually, it's more
Two
broken down
of
into
the-
individual claims and business loss claims, and then you also have real estate claims, and you also have seafood industry claims. So and there's actually 7 or 8 categories, and then they're broken down into subcategories. But to concentrate on the real estate question, you can either have a real sales property claim, which is if you sold a piece of property between April 20th, 2010 and the end of the fiscal, well, not the fiscal year, the actual end of calendar
December
year,
31st.
December 31st
Of 10.
of 2010, you have a potential claim. If you entered into a contract prior to the oil spill and then the oil spill happened and then you sold and the value of the contract was decreased, you would also have a claim.
Okay. And I've heard something, and this is just because when you walk by my office, sometimes I do listen to what you say.
I appreciate that.
If you actually closed between April 20th, 2010 and December 31st, 2010, they're going to pay you something in that? Is it?
Well, you get 12.5%. The seller of the home would get 12.5% of the sales price.
Wow,
So-
is that just not a pretty much?
It's an automatic number, but the qualifications are that it's basically beachfront property.
Okay.
So,
But good to know, because I'm sure some people have sold and maybe even left the area. So
right. And
good to
for
get that word.
those folks out there, not everybody that is beachfront is actually beachfront. So if you say
course.
you live on the beach in a planned unit community, and even though your house is built on a sand dune and there's one house between you and the Gulf, they'll probably not consider you to be
That's not beachfront. Beachfront means right there on
It does. But I'm going to make an argument for most everybody and try and get them reclassified into a beachfront / coastal claim. In my legal opinion, if your house is built on a sand dune, you're probably on the beach.
Sounds like a good argument to me. Okay, Ryan, so if anybody has questions, they can come in and have a free consult with you.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on today. I know you did it last minute, but thank you. I appreciate
Well,
that.
thanks for having me.
All right. We'll be back.